Chris Todd is actually able to fit me in tomorrow. And I'm going to be turning my attention to my dad's Mk3 Escort. My dad hasn't driven it for years, I don't think. For the age, it is in awesome condition. And look at the engine bay, it really does look nice and tidy. Fired straight up. What a beast. Just look how solid the floors are. A little bit of surface there. Oh, I believe that to be, you know, the original lip. And this is one of the things that tells me that the mileage is genuine. There really can't be many left that are that mint, that haven't been, you know, restored. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and today I got up and out and about way later than I was planning to. I had my boxing class last night, which is always really intense, and even though I got up really early this morning to go and pick my beautiful girlfriend Kat up from work because she's doing nights, I ended up going back to bed, and yeah, as I say, I've ended up getting up and out properly really late. I've got some good news about Esther, my Mark 1 Escort, because I actually got in touch with Chris Todd, the guy that does my tuning, and he is actually able to fit me in tomorrow. He's tuning Cozzy, I think he said he was, tomorrow. And yeah, he's going to fit me in afterwards. He said just come down at 7 p.m. and, you know, I might have to wait around and stuff, but I'm happy to do that. I'm just really happy that he squeezed me in so quick, because he's currently taking bookings for July. And yeah, I really don't want to wait that long to get Esther running safely and properly now that she's got the AL development cylinder head fitted. So that's good news. So that will be in the next video. Today I was going to go and drop off the limited slip diff that I recently removed from Maud, my Maud Mark 2 Escort, because I want to get it checked over just to make sure that all the settings and that are okay, seeing as it's out at the moment due to the snapped half shaft. But yeah, because I've got out and about really late, I'm going to leave that for tomorrow, and I'm currently heading over to my other garage, and I'm going to be turning my attention to my dad's Mk3 Escort. Now, I mentioned in the last video that I've got a bit of an announcement to make about my dad's Mk3, and a couple of you guys did guess exactly what I'm on about in the comments of the last video. So yeah, I'm going to get over to the other garage. I'm going to pull the Mk3 out and give it a quick wash. I'm going to need to put the hoist back in the garage with Heidi, my other Mk Mark 2 Escort, because that's currently at the front of the garage that the Mk3's in. So yeah, once I've sorted all that out and I've got the Mk3 looking a bit cleaned, I will turn the camera back on. So I'll see you in a sec. Alright, so as you would have just seen in those clips, my dad's Mk3 is out of the garage and it's looking quite good after a quick wash. I didn't go mad, I literally just gave it a wash with a shampoo, didn't even get the jet wash out, but yeah, looking really, really cool. My dad hasn't driven it for years, I don't think, apart from one time where we went to visit him and, you know, I let him take it for a spin round near where he lives, but yeah, he's not that interested in the car, to be honest. It was only because he knows that I love old Fords that he's kept it this long, so it is going to be going up for sale. Now, I'm sure this is probably going to end up on eBay and it will be sold to the highest bidder, but I thought I'd give you guys a decent walk around it in case any of you guys want to jump the queue and snap it up before it goes on eBay. Definitely not looking to get rid of it cheap. I want to get my dad as much money as I can And yeah, the prices of low mileage 3-door Mk3s is just climbing all the time. I think I'll talk about the spec first of all. It's a 1985 1600 auto, and it's got a 1600 CVH lump in a bay, which we'll have a look at in a minute, and a 3-speed automatic gearbox. The changes that we've made since my dad's owned it, we put these Mondeo Gear X rims on it, which came off of a Mondeo that he scrapped years ago. It was a Mk2 Mondeo Gear X. We've also lowered it about 40mm on some second-hand springs. I think we may have chopped an extra coil out of the rear ones, but yeah, I think it looks cool on these rims. It's a nice stance, it's not ridiculously low. If it were up to me, I would probably put a wheel spacer on the rear wheels just to bring them out a little bit, but yeah, definitely transforms the look of the car when compared to the 4.5-inch wide Steelies that were on this when we first got it, and those are now on my Mk2 Escort obviously, but they've been banded and made wider. So that's all the exterior mods, you could say. We did put a power steering kit on it. It's an electronic power steering kit, uses a Corsa power steering mechanism, which is very common in terms of converting classics to run power steering. Oh, and there's also a K&N air filter inside the original airbox on the engine. But other than that, and some stickers around it and a really cool model of the car on the dash, it is, you know, absolutely standard. Now, in terms of condition, you know, you can see for yourself, for the age, it is in awesome condition, but it's not a show winner. You know, there are bits around it, you know, the more you look, the more you'll see. There's little bubbles here, something going on down here, and there has been some rust that we've dealt with since my dad's owned it. If you've been watching my videos, you'll remember that this actually went to Chris Kember at CLUMPFAB, and he took care of some rust maybe 1 or 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly where those bits were, but they were little bits, like, you know, little sections of the arch. One side, I think there was a section, then there was a section on the inner arch. Might have been a little bit on one of the seals, like the step bit. But yeah, not a lot. It was just a couple of little bits of rust around it that I wanted to get sorted. And then my good friend Rob done a little bit of paint work just on the bits that were welded. So I think it had 2 rear quarters painted and 1 front wing, because that had a bit of a dent in it. So yeah, you know, it's not mint, and it's definitely had some sketchy paintwork in its life before we got hold of it, but it's a very presentable looking Mk3, and whenever we take this thing to the shows and stuff, you know, it always gets decent comments. In fact, the last time that this thing went out was for the Ford show last year at Santa Pod, and I think it only went on a couple of trips last year. The Ford show, the classic Ford show at the South of England showground, and maybe another couple of trips. You know, it really hasn't been driven much in the last couple of years. Now, in terms of the mileage, I just remind myself, yeah, 37,000 miles. We will have a look in the interior in a minute, and I believe that that is genuine mileage. You know, although it's had some weird paintwork and bodywork probably in its early life, I do genuinely believe the mileage. I'll jack it up in a little while and show you things like, you know, the pinch welds and that on the seals. They look too good for it to have gone round the clock, you know, 100,000 miles. So let me talk you through some of the bits that I think are a bit sketchy on the bodywork. Now, this is just me being completely honest. You know, I don't like to sell something without, you know, pointing out everything I know about it. Now, it seems to have had 2 front wings at some point in its early life. And when we got the car, it didn't seem like things were lined up very well, but then when Rob did the paintwork, he very kindly lined things up a bit better. So it doesn't actually look that bad, but when I show you under the bonnet, you'll see that, you know, it hasn't got the original spot welds and stuff, so it looks like it's had 2 front wings at some point. And yeah, as I've already mentioned, it seems like it's had some ropey paintwork, like down here. This isn't really very shiny. You know, and it looks a bit peely, but you know, we've had this car years and years and years, and no major rust has come through, so it's almost like someone's unnecessarily attacked it in places. Maybe a bit of a have a go painter. On the sort of bottom half of the doors, again, it's not super shiny. So it just looks like it's had a really poor job. You know, there is tiny bits of rust coming through on the doors, but you know, we've had this car years, so if there was major holes or anything hidden, they would have come through before. But yeah, you know, the top half looks all right, and you don't really notice them bits. It's never really bothered me. There is those couple of bits I showed you there. The bumpers is definitely the next thing that I was planning to get done. You can see they're a bit scabby and stuff, and I think if this car does make it to eBay, I will be getting these bumpers painted or powder coated, because they do let it down, and it'll be a simple job to, you know, increase the saleability of the car. Moving round, I can see a tiny dent here. Yeah, you really do have to look closely, but you know, it isn't a mint car. You know, again, the bottom of this door, this was where Rob actually tried to start polishing it. When he done the paintwork, he polished the whole car, but he stopped short here because it was clear that the, you know, he was going to go through the paint. But you can just see how it doesn't look very shiny. But, you know, above that trim, it looks absolutely fine. So, yeah, you know, it's got the odd marks around it, as you'd expect for a 1985 car. But in general, it's in great shape. Yeah, it's just the bumpers. But as I say, I'll be sorting them out before it goes on eBay, if it does make it to eBay. So I think I'll show you under the bonnet now, because it looks quite tidy under there. And there it is in all its glory, 1600 CVH engine with its automatic gearbox. We have done some work in this engine bay. The battery tray actually had gone a bit rusty when we got the car. They all go, no matter how low mileage a Mark 3 or Mark 3 Escort is, the battery tray always goes. This actually had a brand new battery last year, and it's obviously only had a couple of trips since then. Now, when I did this battery tray, I welded it in myself, and I bought a panel where the tray is on, you know, part of this. So, you know, I welded it in and then, you know, used filler and stuff to smooth it. And then I basically painted the whole of the rear of the engine bay and down this inner wing, because this inner wing was a bit more scabby than this side. This side I didn't do, and you can see there's a few scabs there. So then it sort of made this side look a little bit better than this side. Now, I did spray it with spray cans. It's not a great job. I'm not a painter, but you know, when you step back and look at the engine bay, it really does look nice and tidy. The rocker cover was painted professionally and colour coded to the car. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I do still have the original rocker cover, which is, you know, in the normal silver colour that it comes in. It's very tatty, but it can go with the car if someone's really offended by the blue rocker cover. And we threw on some blue leads, blue busy cap, just to tie in with the theme. As I've already mentioned, inside here is a K&N air filter, you know, one that goes in the original airbox, so it still looks original. And one thing I didn't just mention is we managed to get a brand new sticker when we colour coded the rocker cover. I did do the cam belt quite soon after my dad got the car, and it had a water pump at the same time. But other than that, you know, we've serviced it. We've done oil and filter change once a year, and yeah, it hasn't done any mileage and it still runs sweet. Oh, there is one more modification actually that I forgot to mention. This twin horn. This actually came off my dad's old Jaguar S-Type. He thought it'd be funny to put these on there so that if you ever need to bib anyone, they can hear you. But I'm pretty sure I've got the original horn somewhere if anyone wanted to put that back to standard. But yeah, in general, it's a really, really tidy engine bay. Not mint, not concourse, but far better than most of them out there. I suppose it'd be rude not to let you hear the engine run quickly. Now, it probably is stone cold still. I did let it run for a few minutes just before I started washing it, but yeah, it'll still be cold. Fired straight up, didn't even have to touch the throttle pedal. Yeah, a little bit of hesitation when it's cold, but yeah, after a few seconds it's fine. What a beast. We'll turn that off, and I suppose while I'm here we'll have a little look around the interior. Now, I haven't cleaned in here, so it's not immaculate. It is what it is. You can see that these seats have been stitched up. My beautiful girlfriend Kat did that last year just to make them look a bit more presentable. The yellow foam and that was hanging out. There's another stitch here, and I think she did the rear seat over there as well. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a base model Mark 3 Escort, you know, still got its stupidly skinny steering wheel, standard dash, doesn't have the original radio. I do have the face for this radio, and I think we added this cigarette lighter. Probably was one there originally, but maybe it stopped working and we put this aftermarket one in. And yeah, it's got the model on the dash, which, to be honest, I'd like to keep, depending on how much this car makes, if someone really wants it. We've got a genuine faux orange air freshener. Yeah, and as I've already mentioned, still got the thing from Ford Show hanging up there. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. It's a tidy-ish interior, you know, does have rips on the seats, but, you know, the dashboard is mint, it's not cracked like some are. Yeah, apart from a bit of dust everywhere, it is a really presentable interior. A little bit of scuffing on that plastic trim down there. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. All present and correct. It does have some old school, I think they're Goodman's speakers in the back. Don't think they would have been original. But yeah, really clean headlining and sun visors. Yeah, man. Pretty cool place to be. You know, nothing special, but pretty tidy for the age. I think you'd all agree. Oh, and it comes with a Haynes manual as well. So yeah, I hope you appreciate it. I'm not trying to be a salesman here. I'm not trying to hide things. I'm not trying to overly exaggerate how wonderful this car is, but you know, I do want to show you exactly what it is in case any of you guys out there are in the market for one. I know I've been messaged quite a few times over the years by people saying they would be interested in buying it if it was up for sale, so now's your chance. Let's have a peek in the boot. Not sure what's in here. Oh, one thing I do remember is them struts need replacing. The boot does tend to, won't do it now, I'm trying to show you, but it does tend to fall down. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Been conked on the head many times by this boot, so yeah, them gas struts are definitely something that need replacing. In fact, there's a bit of wood in here to prevent that, so we'll carefully lower it down onto there without damaging any paint. But yeah, still has the boot carpet in there. Could do with a clean, of course. Got some damage to this side piece here. The other side looks okay. Let's see if we can have a look at the boot floor. Still got one of the 4.5-inch J Steelies in there. Looks like the jack and that is still underneath. But yeah, really solid boot floor. Little scabs here and there, but tailgate definitely didn't just fall on my head, honestly. But yeah, as I was saying, you know, the boot floor is solid. Really clean. She's a solid old girl. She is definitely a solid old girl. Right, I've got to get out of here soon. Got to take my beautiful girlfriend to work. But before I do, I want to jack this Mark 3 up and give you a good look of the underneath, because that's probably the most important thing you need to see when you're thinking about buying one of these old Fords. I hope you can see this. But yeah, just look how solid the floors are. A little bit of surface there where the underseal's obviously flaked off, but no holes. It really is absolutely solid under here. That's a line of sealer that I put on years ago. Basically there was, you know, some loose underseal that had flaked off, so I just attacked it with a wire brush, gave it a bit of cure rust, and then smeared that sealer on. But you know, the lip is all still there. And if you look at it from the outside here, I believe that to be, you know, the original lip. And this is one of the things that tells me that the mileage is genuine. You know, you'd expect some sort of patches. See some surface rust there, but look at the lip. That's the kind of thing that tells me that the mileage is genuine. I'm no expert, but you know, they've normally all had welding on the seals, right? I hope this sort of, you know, shows what I mean when I say it's solid. It is solid. I'll just lean over to the other side. Normally the driver's side goes a bit worse because it's always against oncoming traffic. And yeah, it seems to be the case on this car as well. Yeah, there's literally nothing to speak of, man. It's just solid. It's been undersealed from new, or, you know, I don't know what that stuff is, Z-bar or whatever, I'm not sure. And it's just solid. Like, for a 1985 car, it's just mint. I believe we fitted this exhaust, because the one on it was a bit rusty. It was like a new old stock one. One piece, if I remember rightly. All the way from there. But yeah, that's survived nicely. Proper solid Mk3, man. Let's have a look under the boot floor quickly. Yeah, see a little bit of scabbiness, surface rust in the spare wheel well. But where these hang down low, they always get it in terms of, you know, road debris and water and stuff. But even this, you know, there's no holes in it at all. A little bit up there, but nothing to worry about, honestly. This thing is solid. The spring has fallen out, or I've just jacked it up because they're lowered springs, but yeah, what a solid Mk3, man. Shame I can't own it myself, to be honest. Yeah, the little bits up there, but they're not holes. They're just, you know, over the years, the underseal's flaked off and, you know, it started to go surface rust, but that would all grind off quite easily. Yeah, man, solid. There really can't be many left that are that mint, that haven't been, you know, restored. It's going to be a shame to see it go. Definitely won't find another one. So there it is, it's official. My dad's Mk3 is up for sale. I'm definitely going to be sad to see it go, but I'm not in a position to own it myself for what they go for nowadays. You know, a low mileage 3-door Mk3. The prices are going through the roof. I want to get my dad a good price for it. So yeah, I'm not in a position to own it for what I feel it might generate by selling it to someone else. I think realistically, it's probably going to go to someone who wants to reshell a rotten Series 1 RS Turbo, or possibly someone who wants a nice solid shell to do like a Z-Tech Turbo build on or something. I don't think anyone's going to want to keep it as a 1600 auto, to be honest, but, you know, I might be wrong. In terms of the history of the car, there isn't any. If I remember rightly, there isn't any history. We didn't get anything with the car. And it's just a case of, you know, it being solid in terms of places like the seals, which sort of proves the mileage. But then there's loads of bits about it, like the fact that it seems like it's had 2 front wings and it's had some, you know, shocking paintwork over the years that kind of leans towards it, the history being a bit sketchy. But then on the other hand, all that dodgy paintwork that it has had, you know, we've had it so many years and, you know, it hasn't started rotting and falling apart. So, you know, it's almost as if maybe one of the early owners fancied themselves as a bit of a painter, and, you know, every time it got a little chip, they decided to, you know, respray bits. When in reality, a genuine paint job with a couple of chips looks better than a rubbish paint job. But, you know, some people don't have an eye for paintwork in that way. So look, you know, the car's up for sale. I will be sticking it on eBay, but as I've mentioned, I do think I'd at least be better off, you know, getting the bumpers tidied up and stuff, maybe a couple of other bits before I put it on eBay, just to give it the best chance possible. I mean, I'm useless at pricing things, but in my opinion, as it sits, with it being solid, with it being low mileage, with it being quite tidy, but with it having no history, with it being slightly modified, with it, you know, only being a 1600 auto, I see it as somewhere between 4 and 5 grand in, you know, today's market, which I know years ago would be a ridiculous, you know, price to pay for one of them. And I think, you know, if I was to tidy those bits up and make it look really, really nice, then, you know, maybe it'll be worth a bit more than 5 grand. But, you know, put your comments below, you know, am I well out of range there, you know, am I selling it short? Let me know either way, you know, I won't be offended. That's just how I see it. I'm useless at pricing things, but, you know, I want to get my dad the best price possible. And, you know, I won't be letting it go cheap. He's not in a hurry to sell it. You know, he's not desperate for the money, but it is time to sell. And, yeah, I just want to try and get him as much as I can. But look, if any of you out there are genuinely interested in buying the Mk3, just drop me an email. My email address is always in the description of these videos. It's marcushayesuk@gmail.com. At some point, I'm going to go around there and pull her back out again and take loads of detailed pictures so that I'm able to fire over loads of pictures that anyone asks for. If I've forgotten anything in this video, I'm sure I've forgotten to mention some stuff that, you know, potential buyers would want to know. Just let me know. You know, I'm happy to, you know, send you more details and, as I say, more photos once I've taken some. But yeah, other than that, let me know what you think. What do you think of my dad's Mk3? It might be, you know, one of the last times we see it on the channel. But yeah, I hope it goes to a decent home, you know, and I'm sure there'll be someone out there that can give it a good home. So for this video, I'm going to end it here. Tomorrow, I am, of course, planning to take Esther, my Mk1 Escort, to the dyno, put it on the rolling road with tuning legend Chris Todd, and fingers crossed we get a bigger number than last time thanks to the AL Developments cylinder head that we fitted at the end of last year. But yeah, if you thought this video was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Do click subscribe if you're new to keep up to date with all future uploads. Check out my website for merch and parts. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Massive, massive thanks as always to my patrons for your ongoing support. All the links for all of that will be in the description along with my email address for anyone who wants to contact me. But other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.